All right, the creative act part 3. So the first quote I'm going to give you is, he says, "When we repeat the exercise of opening our senses to what is, we move closer to living in a continually open state. We build a habit, one where expanded awareness is our default way of being in the world." And he mentions a few examples, one being where you can just wake up and take 3 long deep breaths before you get out of bed. Or you can take a walk with nature and look at everything entering your field of vision with gratitude and connection. And he says these kind of habits, and the purpose of doing it is just like, it's not the actual doing, just like meditating. It's to evolve the way you see the world when we're not engaged in these acts. And what I think he means by that is that if you're just taking a walk with no cell phone, you're not talking to anyone, just no distractions, just observing the nature, everything around you, you're really like tuning in and like focusing on that energy. And I feel like you're kind of honing in on your inner self too. So those kind of habits can naturally grow if you're constantly training your mind and your body to do those certain things. And then bouncing off that, he says, "Broadening our practice of awareness is a choice we make at any moment. A hunger to see beautiful things, hear beautiful sounds, feel deeper sensations, to learn and to be fascinated on a continual basis. In service of this robust instinct, consider submerging yourself in the canon of great works. Exposure to great art provides an invitation. It draws us forward and opens doors of possibility. The objective is not to learn to mimic greatness, but to calibrate our internal meter for greatness, so we can better make the thousands of choices that might ultimately lead to our own great work." I feel like this is so true. I remember, I think it was Tarantino, he worked at Blockbuster or a renting film video store, and he mentioned that since he had to pretty much immerse himself in film and watch film and be up to speed and up to par with like all the trends and whatnot, he would just constantly watch film, and obviously he had a passion for film. And so just the more he watched the film, the more he made film, everything kind of fell into place. And I feel like that's the case with everything. Like if you want to be a writer, you're going to just read books nonstop. You're going to read and read and read. And then eventually you're going to build some habits and get some inspiration. And then the habits and the inspiration lead to like a taste of your own, and you end up creating some great work. And so I think there's a lot of inspiration that you can get out there. And then bouncing off that, he actually says, "There's never a shortage of awe and inspiration to be found outdoors. If we dedicate our lives solely to noticing changes in natural light and shadow as the hours pass, we would constantly discover something new." And that's so true. I feel like whenever I just am by myself and I just kind of want to get some inspiration, I'll just go outside and look at the sunset or look at the stars or just enjoy the nature. And I feel like you said, it's constantly changing. You could look at the sunset in 10 minutes and then look back in 30 minutes and it's gone. Or you can like see it in between where it kind of casually changes, but it's always just evolving and changing. One last quote that I love: "You can't step into the same stream twice because it's always flowing. Everything is. The world is constantly changing, so no matter how often we practice paying attention, there will always be something new to notice. It's up to us to find it. Likewise, we are always changing, growing, evolving. We learn and forget things. We move through different moods, thoughts, and unconscious processes. The cells in our body regenerate and die. No one is the same person all day long." And it's crazy. I always think of film, for example, comes to mind when it comes to this, because I'll see a movie 100 times, and the 100th time I'll see something that I didn't notice the first time or even the 50th time. And so I do understand that you are naturally changing, you are looking at things in a different perspective, and that leads to you noticing things that you wouldn't have noticed before. And I feel like art is a great example of that. Like the more I learn music, the more I notice little things in the background that I probably would have never noticed. Or the more I grow as a person and I've gone through things that are a little bit darker that my little inner kid didn't go through, I'm gonna look at darker music in a different way. And so I definitely feel like no one is the same person all day long or their life. You do have flavors and things that don't go away, but you are constantly changing and constantly evolving.